How did a little story spark about 5 siblings coming together after the unexpected death of their mother become a psychological thriller with slasher vibes about a famous family and the deadly threat to their legacy? Here's the story. Tender Beasts actually started out as an idea I had for an adult novel. I was once again inspired by the Netflix adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House, in particular that aspect of a large group of siblings coming back together and being forced to interact with each other, and the sort of different dynamics between siblings, the secrets that come out, and all of that very complicated drama. And so my story spark was essentially that exact same setup of a group of siblings and their mother has recently passed and they gather together, but my little spin on it was that the youngest brother had recently been let out on bail after being charged with the murder of his girlfriend, and the other siblings really aren't sure if they believe him. And then I sold Delicious Monsters, which is my 3rd novel, and I sold it in a 2-book deal, which meant that I needed another idea for a standalone book. And I thought to myself, can I adapt this idea that I'm really interested in to work for a young adult audience? And I decided I wanted to do that. And the first big consideration was that it shifted some of the conversations to be had in the book, because I find that it's a very different conversation talking about a young person who has a serious charge versus an adult. And so that came into how I thought about putting together the story. And then I logistically started to think about, with someone having a charge that serious, how realistic is it for them to get out on bail, and what would really be necessary for that to happen? And that's when I decided to make them an affluent family, in which case the kind of access to lawyers and power, etc., in order to make that sort of thing happen for them. And from there it became a lot of different kind of considerations of where did their money come from, and like how do they continue to get money, and thinking about that. And so I added in that they owned a private school, and then that created a really interesting dynamic because I decided it would be a private school that was needs-based. So all of the student body is made up of underprivileged children, with the exception of the children from the family who also attend, because I thought it could be really interesting to talk and have conversations about that intersection of privileged children and underprivileged children and what that could be like. And then finally I added this dual POV because my editor wanted to see if we could do 2 POVs the way we had done in Delicious Monsters, and I decided to do a past and a present, which I really liked because the mother has passed away at the beginning of the book, but then you get to read her perspective as a teenager, and so you're kind of seeing the prelude to this empire that this family has, and then the sort of fallout of their empire being threatened by this murderer who appears, who is killing students at the school, and who also is threatening the family legacy because this youngest brother has recently gotten a murder charge. He is suspect number 1, and that's why he and his sister team up to find the real murderer to protect their family legacy. And those are all of the big building blocks, inspiration and ideas wise, that ended up coming together to form Tender Beasts.